especially on this last tour, I just get ripped apart on the internet for wearing the same thing every day. And people are like, you don't wash your clothes. Like
The Mercedes-Benz Interview Lounge. The Mercedes-Benz Interview Lounge.
Finally, he shows up. It's Role Model.
Yeah.
Hi, Role Model.
hello. Woohoo. Hi, how are you?
Did you just give us a woohoo?
I did. I went, woohoo.
You did.
Yeah.
You're amazing. Your music's incredible. It makes
Thank
me
you.
feel good. Even though this album, they say, is kind of a breakup album.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I felt pretty good at the end of it.
That's good. That was the goal. That's good. I like to hide. You gotta hide it a little bit and disguise it and dress it up and throw some glitter on the heartbreak songs.
Wasn't there someone we interviewed once? They said their music all sounds happy, but if you listen to the lyrics, it's the saddest crap you've ever heard in your life.
Yes.
I think that's like the best music. The Beatles are the same way. You know?
So, talk about it. I'll just talk about you on the road with Gracie Abrams.
Mm-hmm.
How surreal was that? Because she just blew the hell up,
She did.
and you're a part of that.
A very small part, but it's more so like getting to watch it is very cool. I've said it before, but she was one of the first people I met when I first moved to LA, which was like end of 2018, beginning of 2019, and I had met her right when she was putting out her first EP, Minor, and so I got to like literally watch her from that moment to now, you know, doing 3 nights at Radio City, and now this summer she's doing 2 nights at what is the big
Here? Madison Square Garden?
Madison Square Garden.
Oh my God! Wait, hold on.
Oh, my goodness.
You're in New York City and forgot about Radio City
It's like
Music Hall. I mean,
blasphemy.
wait, hold on. You're in New York City. You forgot about Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like going to Paris. Like, what's that big tower? over
Yeah.
there?
What is that?
I think I love that for you. Good
Yeah.
for you.
Oh, but another New York City moment for Role Model.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I was creeping on your Instagram, and I saw a picture of you in Times Square in front of your billboard.
Yes.
What is that like? Because I can't even imagine.
It's very cool. There's a new one now. There's a new one I haven't seen yet, but it's unbelievable. I think those things I feel like those moments are for the moms and for the like to show my mom and to
Absolutely.
you know, it's not so much for me, it's more for like
You're
my parents like, hey,
See, Mom, I didn't waste my time.
exactly.
Did you stop anybody like that is me? You see that? That's me.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
Why
Damn it.
wouldn't you do that?
I'm not gonna stop someone on the side of the street and be like, they're gonna, I don't know.
Why not? It'd be funny.
Oh, we did that. Well, I did that. We were in Aladdin on Broadway
Yeah.
for like 10 seconds, but they put our names on the marquee. People were walking by. I'm like, hey, just
Pardon me.
Yeah,
that's
that's
me.
me.
Did you know that? And everyone's
That's
like,
cool.
please get away
And
from me.
they recoiled in horror and
Yeah,
ran
they
for their
did.
lives.
Yes, I don't want
Someone
that.
called
So
security.
when you do your shows, there's so much energy, especially when you start dancing with your Sallys and things. We'll get into that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Are you typically a more quiet person when you're off the stage? Do the lights and the music wake you up in a weird way you can't explain?
Exactly that. I think you just answered the question for me.
Okay. Okay.
But
Do I have any more answers for you?
um,
What is it about being on stage and that electrification that happens to you?
I don't know what it is. I think maybe I am like a very quiet person in my personal life, and also like leading up before like the first 10 minutes before we go on stage, like the green room's silent, like everyone's quiet, we all keep to ourselves, and then you have to wake up 10 minutes before, so we like take a shot and do whatever, but for the most part I'm quiet, and then I don't know what it is on stage. I guess like I think secretly I probably do love attention. I think
Don't we all?
I think there's like
Secretly.
a deep part that definitely like feeds off it, obviously. But I try not to think about that.
We can do a shot of tequila right now.
Yeah, I know. And then you never know what's going to happen. Like that side of me might come on. But I don't know. Like even as a kid, I used to like dress up as Elvis and like perform for my family. And like I was that kid who was just like a little pick-me, attention hungry kid. So maybe that is still in me. Who knows?
I'm thinking that's probably not an unusual thing. I mean, we
Yeah.
come on this show every day and scream like a bunch of friggin' lunatics. And then at 10:01, I don't want anyone to talk to me. I don't want to be near anyone.
Yeah,
But you didn't get into this for the attention. You got into this because of your love for the music, I'm assuming.
of course.
So growing up in Maine, which I've never been to Maine, but I feel like I need to move there. I feel like I need to be on a craggy shoreline.
I think you do too.
Is that where they are? I need a lobster trap.
I've never heard craggy, but I think that 100% you should move there. It's like in the summer, it's the most beautiful place on earth. Like it is. I have now because of touring and everything, seen a lot of very beautiful places, but Maine in the summer is still my favorite.
Maine has some of the prettiest beaches I've ever seen.
Yes.
Like ever. Crystal clear water. You can be in it for about 10 seconds before your feet start to freeze off, but it's so pretty.
It's the best.
Yeah.
But in traveling and world tours and this and that, do you like living out of a suitcase? I mean, is that something really?
No,
he just shook his head no.
Yeah. I despise, I think, well, yeah. Traveling like that just isn't, there's very cool parts, like waking up in a new city. Like you fall asleep and then you wake up and you're in a new city. And that's like very cool. But it's just the living out of a suitcase part that just like kills me. And like, especially on this last tour, I just get ripped apart on the internet for wearing the same thing every day. And people are like, you don't wash your clothes.
That's
like
crazy.
Enrique Iglesias has been doing it for years. He has that same hat.
Oh, it stinks.
He wears it all the time. The same
I
shirt.
do the same
And
thing.
dude, he's like the hottest. Don't even worry about it.
And that is, listen, like I won't defend myself on the internet, but like I would urge them to go live out of a suitcase for 2 months on the road.
You do wash your clothes, though.
I do wash my clothes.
I don't know.
But like,
you don't have to.
I get attached to certain things, like this hat, which probably smells like
Head.
bad.
What does head smell like?
We all know.
Dry shampoo.
I wish I
in there.
knew.
You'll be
I knew
good.
what head smelled like. That's my
Wait,
next
do
discovery.
Do you ever wake up in a different place and get on the stage and forget where you are?
Yes. Yeah. That happened recently. That happens a lot.
Do you
Sometimes,
have signs that say before you walk out, you're in Pittsburgh?
sometimes, but like I'll have to write it sometimes on our set list so I don't forget. But usually I'm good.
Saw you on Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Said, how do you describe his music? And I said, well, I hear some Americana-ish kind of. What do you call it? I mean, if you have to put it into a box, how would you describe your music?
I think Americana pop with like a little bit of like folk sprinkled in, probably.
Is that what you grew up loving to listen to?
For sure.
Because I know you grew up, you like rap when you were growing up. I mean,
The rap thing, it's interesting. Like, me and my brother were in this like sort of skateboard, snowboard like culture of the internet, and a big part of that culture was like hip hop at the time, and so that was all we listened to. And then my parents would listen to like Neil Young and Jackson Brown and like Norah Jones and those things. And so there was just like me and my brother's taste, and then their taste, and then slowly like I'd watch my brother gravitate towards what they listened to as he like got older. I was like, I'll never do that. I hate that. And then I don't know, you get to a certain age where you're like, it's nostalgic, and you start to gravitate and appreciate the music that your parents listened to and things like that. And
so how'd you get into the business? How did you start performing in front of crowds, and where did it come from?
I was in Pittsburgh in film school when I started making music, and the music scene there is hip hop. Like that's everything, and there's a massive scene there, and there's amazing artists that are doing like local shows and whatever. And I just wanted to like be a part of it. It was very cool, and so I started making music that was, I guess, hip hop-y, sometimes singy, melodic stuff, but like hip hop. And as far as like doing shows, I used to just email. I'd go on the venues in Pittsburgh, all their websites, once a week on like a Monday, and it would say all the people that are coming and performing. And so I'd email them, send them all my stuff, and be like, can I please open for this person? You don't have to pay me, just please. And so I was opening for like the weirdest shows. It was like Lil Debbie. I opened for her.
That's a snack cake.
It is a snack cake. It's also an artist.
Okay, sorry.
And I'm not sure if she still makes music, but this guy Father, who is an Atlanta artist, who is also amazing. And yeah, it was just weird. I was putting myself in these little shows throughout Pittsburgh, and then caught the attention of some people in LA, and yeah.
Did you get the name Role Model from a Paul Rudd movie?
No.
That's a rumor on the internet.
I know.
Okay.
And it kills me. My first ever like interview ever was like a phone call interview, so everything was typed up after. And I had made a joke, and I was like, I got it from the Paul Rudd movie, Role Models. It was my first interview, so I didn't know that sarcasm does not translate.
It doesn't.
On the internet, right. And I have since learned a little bit. But yeah, no, it was not from that. It was just like, I was a kid, and I thought it was hilarious to like call myself role model.
These interviews, though. Do you like doing these interviews?
I like doing this interview.
Okay.
He's like, I better say that.
Good answer, CD. You say what you want them to know.
This is more fun, and it's visual, so people can kind of tell when I'm kidding. There's cameras.
You can see the sarcasm?
Yes, exactly.
But what about the social media part of this business? I mean, you want to make music, you want to perform in a studio, and you want to perform on a stage, and then you have people online saying that you look like you smell because you don't wash your clothes.
Yeah.
I mean, do you ever read the crap that's out there, or do you kind of run away from it? I do.
I feel like I try and... For instance, let's talk about my stench and the way...
I don't think you smell.
No, you smell
right,
great.
I know, but
Still good.
as far as the internet, that is like a narrative, one of many, and it's like I choose to kind of lean into that, and then it just becomes like a bit for a month, or in that case, much longer. But I don't know. I've always just tried to like lean into those things. I don't think anything on the internet really doesn't get to me. I think I'm like old enough to where I've seen life. I know I've seen life without some of these things like TikTok and whatnot, and so I know that it's a little bubble, and so nothing gets to me. I try to lean into it and turn things into a joke, I guess.
Well, good for you, because I'm 3 times your age, and it bothers the living hell out of me. Yeah, no, I can't read it. It's just people say things that aren't true, and I just want to go, you stupid piece of crap.
Well, so that's also what I do. I do exactly that. Like Twitter is kind of, I like being messy on the internet.
Okay.
And so like when I do get that, I
so you're part of the problem on the
right.
internet. Then.
I will attack back in like a somewhat jokey way, but like, yeah, I stand up for myself on the internet.
Well, that's good.
Does it ever happen where somebody says something crappy to you, then you snap back with something crappy, and then they accuse you of being a bully?
Oh, of course.
That's the funniest thing in the world to me. I'm like, you started it.
Exactly.
Don't be mad that I finished it.
Exactly. And now I have people that kind of will continue the argument for me on Twitter, so I don't have to do that. And I have my little
argument police.
My little divas that'll come after him. So
finding yourself on stage, where do you go when you're on stage? We know of a lot of performers we've interviewed where they will go out on the stage and do a show, then they're finished with the show and they don't remember what happened. It's this bolt of electricity. It's like sitting in an electric chair. Do they still have those?
I think so.
Yeah,
and
you black out a little
do
bit?
you go places? Where in your mind are you? Are you just trying to remember the lyrics? Are you just into the moment? Where's your head?
I think I used to really focus on the lyrics only because I just have bad memory. But I think now, after just touring so much for the past year, it's just the show has become very much like it's just like muscle
memory? Is this a bad memory thing right now?
Yeah, it was. Muscle memory.
Muscle memory, okay.
And so it's just like I'm literally thinking about other things while I'm performing a song, and I'm like thinking about like the set and what we should change while performing songs. Like it's kind of psychotic, but yeah, I think now it's locked in enough to the point where I'm not like thinking about the show itself. I'm thinking about like, what am I gonna eat after this, or like blah blah blah, whatever.
I don't know. Have you ever had a moment while you're performing where you became somewhat overwhelmed where you were at that moment? For instance, opening up for Gracie, being on that tour, whatever. I don't know, or in a small venue somewhere, you actually had a brief second blip in your head where like, oh my God, I'm standing here doing this right now, and it just kind of freaked you out a little bit, or it hit you hard?
Definitely. I think we just did the last show of my North American tour. We just did it last week, I think, and it was in Boston, which was like, I call it like a hometown show because I haven't played in Maine yet, but I had like my whole family there, and it was also the biggest show I think that I've had to date, and it was just like I definitely finally kind of had like a moment to soak it in, and during some of the slower songs where I'm sitting down and you can just kind of look at everyone. It's like I definitely had a moment to soak it up, which was nice.
I just got goosebumps when you said that because I can imagine. I'm just imagining what that felt like for you.
Yeah, it was amazing. I feel like I don't ever soak things in like that, and that was my chance to. It was the last show, so I was like...
Well, you don't bathe or take your clothes to the cleaner, so you might as well not soak
I
it
have
in.
time. I know.
You had a question?
I do. So this is a song or an album about breakups. So you're on stage, you're singing something that's probably maybe a little therapeutic to you and also just heartbreaking in some ways. And then you look out and you see everybody just singing and dancing along to it. Is that bizarre?
No, because I'm also doing that. Like I'm shaking my...
Ass.
I don't
Tail
know. I was waiting for someone to let me know if I could say that. I'm like shaking my ass to the same songs and like, making a fool of myself on stage too. And I love watching other artists that do that too and like not take their show so seriously and try and like pull tears out of their crowd. Like I want the opposite. Like I want us to all be having fun. So yeah.
When you were on with Jimmy Fallon on the Tonight Show the other night, there was one scene where he was actually up in the audience and they were all singing the lyrics to Sally When the Wine Runs Out. Mm-hmm. And I mean, they all knew every lyric. I don't know. It's like they didn't know those lyrics. They must have packed this audience with people that know this guy, but they did.
They did.
And they were so excited. And then when you did your Sally dance or dance with your Sally of the night, that was the energy just felt so good. I can't imagine you walking on stage in a bad mood and staying in a bad mood off the stage because you just seem to have so much fun.
It was that truly like blew my mind. It blew all of our minds. We were backstage watching it kind of live on the screens or whatever, and we were all like in shock. We didn't expect that. We didn't expect Jimmy also to like be so excited about it, and that was amazing. You can't really predict those things or like expect them in any way. It was cool.
My hope and prayer for you is you have more and more moments like those we just discussed.
Me too.
Good for you.
Yep.
Thank you.
And having you here is great. And we wish nothing but great things for you.
Thank you.
I got to play it. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Sally, When the Wine
Play
Runs Out, it's Role Model. Right now, thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah.
The Mercedes-Benz Interview Lounge.